Welcome to the HFY Tales channel. Remember to like and subscribe if you like the story. Enjoy and take care. As the small human settlement on the alien planet of Zephyra came into view, Jake peered out of the ship's viewport, awe spilling over him. The landscape was unlike anything he had ever seen. Twinkling bioluminescent plants illuminated the lush terrain in shades of blue and violet, while strange creatures flitted about, seemingly dancing among the foliage. "Here we go," he muttered to himself, excitement and anxiety swirling within him. The purpose of this mission wasn't just exploration, it was to foster cultural exchange. Human diplomats knew that sharing knowledge about Earth was critical to obtaining peaceful relations with more advanced alien civilizations. With a deep breath, Jake disembarked from the sleek vessel, his heart racing. The other crew members bustled around him, chattering about their tasks. But Jake's attention was seized by a figure approaching from the shimmering underbrush. The alien girl emerged, her elongated limbs accompanied by vibrant colors that shifted with her movements. "Greetings, Earth human," she said, her voice musical and playful. "I am Tanya." Jake blinked, momentarily captivated. Her skin was a fascinating mix of iridescent shades, and her large eyes sparkled with curiosity. Hi," he replied, trying to appear confident. "I'm Jake." "Jake," she repeated, testing the name on her tongue. "Show me how you people breed," she declared suddenly, her expression earnest, completely lacking the social filters humans generally employed. Jake's mind short-circuited, blushing a deep crimson. Wait, what?" His thoughts stumbled over one another. Did she just ask him? Tanya tilted her head, clearly perplexed by his response. "Is this not how your social interactions begin?" she asked innocently, causing Jake to nearly choke on his own laughter, disbelief washing over him. "No, I mean, yes, well, sort of," he stammered, completely bewildered yet thoroughly amused. The atmosphere was light, and despite his embarrassment, he found himself intrigued by this alien girl. She had an adventurous spirit and a burning curiosity. Maybe this mission wouldn't be dull after all. Tanya crossed her arms, her eyes narrowing with playful challenge. "Then educate me, Jake. Does not knowledge about breeding bring about understanding of your species?" Jake couldn't help but chuckle at her forthrightness. The other crew members were drifting nearby, but he wouldn't let them hear this conversation. "Okay, Tanya, let's make a deal. I'll show you all about Earth relationships, if you promise to share about your culture in return." "Agreed." She grinned, the brilliance of her smile brightening up the growing dusk around them. He could feel the sparks of potential friendship igniting between them. This was going to be an unforgettable experience, and he couldn't shake the feeling that it might lead to something much more. Jake guided Tanya to a quiet spot under the sprawling branches of a dreamlike tree, its luminous leaves shimmering like stars overhead. He fidgeted nervously as he prepared to explain human mating rituals. "So, relationships on Earth, they start with attraction and usually a lot of flirting." Tanya's eyes widened. "Flirting? Is that a dance? Show me this flirt." No, it's more like teasing and playful banter," he clarified, gesturing extravagantly. "You know, like making jokes and complimenting someone." "Jokes?" Tanya echoed, scrunching her delicate brow. "You suggest we jest about mating? That seems a questionable approach." "Not about mating specifically, just in general," Jake rushed to explain. "You build rapport before you get serious." Tanya leaned closer, studying him intently. "Serious? Like a formal dance? Is that what you humans perform?" Jake stifled a laugh, wondering how to clarify. No, it can be lighthearted. Imagine two people having fun before they decide to be more than friends." Tanya's expression turned contemplative. "So, flirtation is a dance requiring precise steps?" "Sort of, but there's no set routine," Jake replied, slightly befuddled. She switched tactics. "And how do I know if a human is interested in breeding?" Well, it can be tricky," Jake admitted, scratching his head. "It might come from body language, eye contact, leaning close." Tanya nodded vigorously. "Underlying codes of physical contact, so if I lean close now, like this." She invaded Jake's personal space, causing him to freeze in place. Her face transformed into a playful grin. "Does this mean I find you desirable?" Jake's heart raced. Well," He cleared his throat, trying to regain composure. That could imply interest, yes. Good. Now teach me this flirt dance, Tanya exclaimed, causing Jake to laugh, realizing that this cultural exchange was not going to be simple, nor would it ever get boring. As the days unfolded, Jake found himself immersed in rigorous training to teach Tanya about human relationships, with each lesson landing in unexpected territories. All right, let's talk about dating, he began one afternoon. In human culture, it's typical to go out for meals, a way to connect over shared food. Tanya's eyes lit up. I love food. Is this where the mating dance begins? Jake chuckled nervously. Not exactly, although it can lead up to that. First, you pick a place like a restaurant. Tanya made a note on her glowing tablet. Restaurant. Here, this place is conducive to mating? Not specifically, he replied, trying not to laugh at her literal interpretation. But people use those settings to get to know one another. Tanya furrowed her brow. How do you know if they enjoy the food? Good question. Depends on their reactions, like smiles or comments about the cuisine. Some people can be picky, he added, recalling his own nightmarish date experiences. What's this picky? Tanya asked, tilting her head. Okay, imagine a human takes a bite of food and makes a face like they're disgusted. You'd assume they do not like it. He then exaggerated a shocked expression. Tanya nodded. So the reaction is an integral part of the mating practice. Sure, and then there's gifts. Humans often bring presents to express interest. Flowers, chocolates, maybe a cool gadget, something special. Gifts are essential? She asked, intrigued. Definitely. You could take an alien flower. Who wouldn't be charmed? Jake added with a smile, thinking of how Tanya cleverly combined both humor and curiosity. Her eyes brightened. I could bloom a flower for you, Jake. You don't need to, he replied, slightly overwhelmed. No pressure. I didn't mean it literally. Tanya waved dismissively, grinning. You humans are so confusing. But I will try the flowers. Consider it a test of your teachings. They dove deeper into discussions about romantic gestures, revealing both cultural differences and the comedic misunderstandings that stemmed from them. Each lesson began with laughter, but it always evolved into genuine curiosity. Jake found himself drawn to Tanya's excitement. Her misunderstanding of simple concepts was like a dance, weaving charming chaos into their budding friendship. Now that we've talked about courtship, we need to address the more intimate aspects of relationships, Jake said, trying to mask his nervousness. Tanya's wide eyes were absorbing his every word. Intimacy, Tanya repeated, her brow furrowed with seriousness. Does this involve physical closeness? Yes, very much so. Humans often express their affection through touch, holding hands, hugging, kissing. He stumbled over the last word, feeling a warmth creep up his neck. Tanya leaned in closer, her iridescent skin shimmering under the soft glow of the surrounding flora. Explain the kiss, she requested, almost eagerly. Sure, kissing is a way humans express affection, usually on the lips, Jake explained with a nervous chuckle. It's also used to show romantic interest, but there's a whole technique involved. She watched in fascination, eyes gleaming with curiosity. Demonstrate this technique. How do two humans perform this kiss? Jake hesitated, his heart racing. You want me to show you? Of course, Tanya replied with enthusiasm. Lead the way, human. Jake felt all the blood rush to his face, a flood of awkwardness washing over him. Flirting had already been one thing, but demonstrating a kiss? Strange butterflies filled his stomach. I mean, okay, but we should probably establish some things first, like, you need to ask for permission. He swallowed hard. Permission? She echoed, blinking her large, innocent eyes. Ah, so there are regulations to this act. I must request this kiss? Right. So, can I kiss you? He blurted out, heart leaping into his throat. The moment felt surreal, like a dream mixed with uncertainty. I permit this kiss, Jake, Tanya stated plainly, unfazed. With that, Jake leaned in, slowly brushing his lips against hers. It felt electric, soft and warm, as if fireworks were igniting in his veins. He pulled back, breathing heavily, and he saw a look of fascination spread across Tanya's face. Fascinating, she exclaimed. The impact of that kiss gives a sensation unlike any I have known. Jake chuckled. Yeah, it's quite powerful. There's a lot of emotion behind it. I wish to perform this act often, Tanya stated earnestly, causing Jake to erupt into laughter. Let's not get ahead of ourselves, he replied, unable to hide his grin. Let's explore more first, like the importance of knowing your partner's likes and dislikes. More lessons. I will learn this dance, Jake. She beamed, determination swirling in her gaze. The camaraderie between them grew, filled with laughter and genuine affection. Jake realized how refreshing Tanya's perspective was. Each tension-filled moment only added fuel to the fire of their unexpected companionship. As the weeks passed, the chemistry between Jake and Tanya blossomed both comically and romantically. With each lesson, they ventured deeper into understanding human connection, each moment layered with innocence and humor. One afternoon, they were nestled under the gigantic tree they loved, shadows dancing as sunlight filtered through the leaves. Now, laughing together is crucial for bonding, Jake explained, trying to maintain the fun atmosphere. Oh, I excel at laughing, Tanya declared with enthusiastic vigor, practically bouncing in her seat. Tell me something humorous. Okay, here goes. Why don't scientists trust atoms? He paused for dramatic effect. Because they make up everything. Tanya furrowed her brow for a moment before bursting into laughter. Ah, this atom is very clever. I grasped the trick. Encouraged, Jake shared more jokes, their laughter echoing through the air. While Jake briefly touched on the deeper aspects of love and commitment, Tanya's engaging nature pulled him toward lightheartedness. Tanya, he began, you know emotions play a big role in how we connect, right? It can feel complicated. Complicated like mating? I have yet to understand how this comes about, but I am willing to learn, she replied earnestly, causing Jake to choke on his laughter again. Ugh, let's not keep coming back to the breeding topic, he groaned playfully, running a hand through his hair. Why not? Is it not the point of our lessons? Jake smiled, shaking his head. Kind of, but we can touch on deeper feelings first. For example, love, it's complicated. Complicated, she echoed, a thoughtful expression gracing her features. Does love involve physical expansion of space? What? No, he replied, amused by her wording. It's about how two people enrich each other's lives. Tanya nodded, although her expression showed she was not quite convinced. They both knew they had more to discover about each other as their bond deepened. Suddenly, Tanya grabbed his arm, her curiosity unyielding. If humans express emotions physically, can we practice being human and find this love? Jake chuckled, feeling the warm flush in his cheeks. Well, we can certainly try. The warmth between them shifted, and he realized that each playful exchange had woven a connection that was undeniably special. Jake felt a flicker of hope. This journey into the unknown had become far more than just a lesson in human culture. It was a thrilling exploration of newfound affection. Jake wanted to give Tanya a stellar human experience, so he planned an official date. He dressed carefully, selected the best spot for dinner, and called it perfectly casual. Tanya was wearing a flowing garment peppered with motifs indicative of her home. Jake, you are so casual. Do I appear appropriately vegan for this outing? Tanya's excitement was palpable. You're doing great, Jake reassured with a reassuring smile. Just remember, no need to overthink. Let's have fun. They arrived at a vibrant alien bistro called the Cosmic Garden. Its interior was astonishing. Twisting vines adorned the walls, and glowing orbs floated above, illuminating the space. With Tanya's hand firmly in his, Jake led her to a cozy table adorned with crystalline cutlery. This is exquisite, Tanya exclaimed, looking around. So much energy flows through. Yeah, doesn't it give off a peaceful vibe? He replied, warmth radiating from their intertwined fingers. When the waiter approached, Jake glanced nervously at Tanya. Would you like to order? Tanya eyed the menu with wide fascination. All this food is foreign. I desire to try everything, she stated decisively. Jake smirked. All right, let's go with the spicy maxilon stew and a side of gravitational greens. Just be ready, it might have a kick. When their meals arrived, Tanya tentatively took a bite, eyes widening as the heat overwhelmed her senses. This food, Luna's breath. What have you done to me, Jake? She exclaimed dramatically, then quickly downing water. Jake laughed heartily. Do you want me to call for help? No, I will not appear weak, she declared, her feisty spirit shining. Your earth food is powerful. Can you teach me how to breathe better? Just slow down, he advised, chuckling. Their playful banter continued, bouncing from topic to quirky jokes. As they navigated through the meal, Jake couldn't help but notice how, even layered with cultural miscommunications, there was something undeniably magnetic about their connection. Their shared laughter turned into moments of soft gazes. A new rhythm kindled. Jake, tell me about love, Tanya insisted, the curiosity in her demeanor shining through. Love is complicated, Tanya, he replied, looking contemplatively at his plate. It requires trust and emotional depth. Depth? She echoed, tilting her head. Just as we dive into the depths of friendship? Exactly, but it can be different for everyone, he acknowledged. When the meal concluded, he suggested dessert, one he knew Tanya would either love or dive into confusion over. Chocolate lava cake, he announced cheerfully. Tanya bit into it, experiencing the rich indulgence of chocolate for the first time. This is intensely pleasurable, she gasped, and Jake just smiled warmly amidst laughter. The evening culminated in a beautiful lantern-lit stroll through the alien gardens. As they walked closely, he could feel the growing intimacy between them. Are we close enough now? Tanya ventured, leaning gently against his arm. Jake chuckled, his heart pounding. I think we're just getting started. The days turned into weeks, and navigating their quirky relationship brought Jake and Tanya closer. Their interactions blossomed from lessons into shared experiences filled with laughter, exploring the unknown territory of romantic connection. One lazy afternoon, they lounged in a dome shaped like a giant flower petal. They discussed their favorite Earth movies, the laughter swelling as they tried to explain classic rom-com tropes to Tanya. Wait, so these romantic comedies feature humans tripping over one another just to find true love? She asked, her eyes wide. Absolutely. The bigger the clumsy mistake, the better. Jake chuckled, picturing the ridiculous plots. It's absurdity leading to connection. You humans thrive on absurdity, she teased back, her grin infectious. Just then, a small, curious creature approached them. It had the appearance of a fluffy rainbow-striped ball with many tiny legs. Is this creature friendly? Tanya asked, eyeing it warily. Jake laughed. That's a zimp. Don't worry. It's harmless. Unless you're made of snacks. The zimp promptly began to swirl around Tanya's feet, drawing her into giggles. The joyful scene lit up the afternoon, and in that moment Jake felt a surge of affection wash over him. This whole experience had transformed from a simple lesson into something more profound. Later that day, they ventured outside again, lying side by side on soft grass as the alien sun began sinking. Tell me about your first love, Tanya insisted, her voice curious and sincere. Ah, that's a long story. Jake hesitated, not sure how to explain. But my first crush was in school. I was awkward and didn't have the guts to tell her how I felt. Fear? You humans experience fear? Tanya asked, intrigued. Yeah, it's part of it. We're all scared of rejection, he admitted, wistful. Tanya paused thoughtfully. I see. But you prevailed, didn't you? That builds strength. Jake chuckled. Finally someone gets it. But I didn't tell her. Sometimes fear holds us back. The conversation morphed into a heartwarming exchange about vulnerability. Being vulnerable is essential in love, Tanya said, her tone shifting to seriousness. Jake nodded. It can be terrifying, but it deepens connections, like what we have. Then I will not fear. Tell me more about love, the kind I can learn about, she encouraged, her enthusiasm inspiring Jake. Emboldened by vulnerability, they ventured into discussions about affection, exploring desires, boundaries, and the human experience of yearning. In a way, they were both forging a bond. Intimate discussions paved the way for growing trust. As their laughter echoed through the alien landscape, Jake's heart swelled with warmth. This connection with Tanya felt limitless, leaving the door wide open for exploration. One day, Tanya arrived breathlessly at the meeting spot, her eyes sparkling with excitement. Jake, there is a festival today, a celebration of light and life. We must go. His excitement matched hers. Festivals are the perfect way to experience a culture up close. What's the plan?" "It is a night of transforming camaraderie into jubilance," she exclaimed, practically bouncing on her toes. "We shall explore the games, food, and dances of my people." After donning his casual attire, Jake felt prepared for the lively experience ahead. As they strolled through the vibrant marketplace, Jake's senses drank in the warm lights, alien music, and aromas of exotic dishes. "Look at those shimmering lanterns," Tanya pointed, pulling him along. "They symbolize the light of friendship." "Everything is so colorful. It's like a painting come to life," Jake marveled, feeling alive amid the celebration. Tanya's energy was infectious. Hours passed as they explored various stalls featuring traditional games. "Now, Jake, you must try this game. It is called Catching Stars," Tanya declared, leading him to a glowing netting stretched across two trees. "This sounds like a blast," Jake laughed, attempting to catch the colorful floating orbs. To his dismay, he stumbled, landing on the festival's soft ground, causing boisterous laughter from nearby spectators. "Are you all right?" Tanya asked, concern flickering in her eyes, but her amusement was hard to suppress. "Yeah, just showing you the dance of victory," Jake said with playful grandiosity, rising to his feet. Tanya giggled, beaming with delight. After the games, they sought refreshments, and Tanya insisted on trying everything that looked appealing. "What is this one?" She pointed at a neon blue drink, eyes sparkling. Jake raised an eyebrow, remembering warnings from the other crew about its potency. "Careful, Tanya, it might be a bit much." She took a hearty gulp, her eyes widening as the electrifying flavor overwhelmed her. "Oh, it's like the stars exploded on my tongue. This is delightful." She grabbed Jake's hand, pulling him over to the dance area. "Come dance with me." "I don't know how to—" "Just follow my lead," she encouraged, dragging him into the throng of swaying bodies. Overwhelmed, he clumsily tried to replicate her movements, fingers fumbling as they laughed together. The rhythm of the music pulsed throughout the vibrant atmosphere, pulling them into the infectious energy of the crowd. With every misstep, every stumble, their laughter rang out, transforming the evening into a joyful blur. Tanya began leading him through the playful, if chaotic, steps of the dance, each time drawing him closer and closer. They fell into each other, their fusion felt with every twirl. Finally, gasping with joy and breathless from laughter, they stilled, the moment weaving into something deeper. "Witnessing joy is far more exhilarating than I expected, Jake," Tanya exclaimed, grinning up at him. "Yeah, it really is." His heart raced as he stared into her radiant eyes, feeling utterly captivated. They continued to dance beneath the glimmering lights, each new twirl deepening their connection, laughter transforming something playful into a delightful intimacy. The festival pulsed wonder into their hearts, paving the way for a shared understanding that breathed life into their bond. As the festival drew to a close, Jake and Tanya found themselves under the starlit sky, leaning against the soft grass of the festival grounds. "That was incredible," Jake said, still flushed from the experience. "You really know how to enjoy yourself." Tanya nodded, her eyes reflecting the brilliance of the stars above. "It was uncharted territory and joy. But tell me, what did you feel about it?" He hesitated. This felt like a moment where vulnerability mattered. "Honestly, I felt alive, more connected to you than ever." His heart raced, unsure what her response would be. A soft smile spread across her lips, illuminating her features. "Alive? Does love always feel like being alive?" Jake shook his head slowly. "Not always. Love can be complicated, but with you," he took a deep breath, "it feels easy, natural." "Natural," she repeated, her expression thoughtful. "Is that why you were unconcerned with my presentation? You enjoy my presence?" "Absolutely. I find you fascinating, a brilliant researcher into human ways. And," he added shyly, "I'm starting to care for you." "Care for me?" Tanya echoed, her brow arching. "Do you mean affection?" "Kind of, yes. Like we're slowly exploring more than just friendship, or at least I hope we are," Jake confessed, staring deep into her expressive eyes. "I wish to understand these emotions," Tanya stated, sincerity woven into her tone. "If this is affection, I want to nurture it together." Jake's heart fluttered with hope at her words. "You'd permit that?" "Of course," she assured, a playful glint shining in her eyes. Double the affection means we must learn proportionately. Jake laughed softly, wondering if every discussion about relationships would always return to Tanya framing emotions in her own humorous terms. I don't think it's a math equation. Tanya shifted slightly closer, the warmth between them palpable. But how do I express these newfound feelings? Just be you, Tanya. I admire your curiosity and your boldness, especially when you dive into new experiences. The moment seemed infinite, tension building in the quiet intimacy of their conversation. Jake's heart thudded as he took a step forward. Can we take this further? He asked, a hint of trepidation dancing through his words. Tanya regarded him curiously. How further? In terms of physical closeness, laughter, and— He hesitated, his face heating. More kissing. Ah, so you hope for frequent collaboration? She concluded, smiling wide. Jake smiled back, hope coursing through him. Yeah, I suppose I do. I just want our bond to grow stronger. Then let us weave this web of affection together, Tanya declared, her exuberance infectious. The evening air shimmered around them in splendid anticipation as they both recognized the warmth of affection, humor intertwining with connection in the space of newfound romance. With newfound determination, Jake and Tanya ventured deeper into their connection. The shimmering backdrop of stars had set the stage for something monumental, and after the festival, their playful teasing took on a fresh context. Jake, Tanya began one evening as they lounged in the bioluminescent field, a sense of calm enveloping them. You mentioned earlier that humans express affection physically. How does that come to play in your form of breeding? Uh-oh. Jake winced internally, remembering how often this topic came up in their chats. Let's clarify a bit first. There's definitely more than just breeding involved. It encompasses emotional intimacy and connection first. Emotional. Like this bond we are creating now? Tanya responded innocently, leaning against him affectionately. Yes, exactly. He inhaled deeply, embracing the warmth radiating off her iridescent skin. But if we're going to compare, let's start with kissing again. Her eyes lit up with delight. Demonstrate, Jake. I wish to learn more about the dance of kissing. With a gentle smile, he leaned closer, capturing her chin and brushing his lips against hers softly, savoring the magic of it all. Tanya responded flawlessly, her curiosity propelling her to explore different angles and sensations. More! The sensation of pressure is delightful, Tanya chimed, shifting to press her lips against his more firmly. Does this express higher levels of affection? Jake could hardly keep himself composed as heat blossomed throughout him. Yeah, that's definitely a more passionate kiss, he murmured, the flutter of her movements sending sparks through him. Passionate, Tanya echoed enthusiastically, her face beaming in delight. Kissing is but a gateway to something deeper. Exactly, Jake laughed, getting lost in her radiant enthusiasm. Let's acknowledge it as something intimate. Intimacy. Different from friendship, she mused aloud, contemplating the concept. An invitation into shared vulnerability. Exactly. And, there are different levels, too. Jake felt his cheeks warming. You know, some physical closeness can lead to, more intimate activities. Tanya's large eyes danced with intrigue. What do these activities entail? Jake's heart raced, moving their conversation into a realm he had fervently hoped they would venture into. There's cuddling, caressing, things like that. Cuddling, Tanya repeated, the concept sinking in. May we cuddle then? Yeah, we can, he agreed, heart fluttering in anticipation. He moved closer, wrapping his arms around her as they nestled together. This is extraordinary, Tanya gasped, marveling at the sensation of bodies coming together. The warmth enveloped them as they tangled their limbs, comfort settling within the heat of shared closeness. Jake's fingers brushed against her side cautiously, testing the waters. See how nice this feels? It's about shared protection and warmth. Warmth, Tanya echoed, seeking Jake's gaze. So close. Connection grows stronger with warmth. I find it fascinating. As they settled into each other, Jake pressed a soft kiss to her forehead. Being vulnerable around someone you trust, it's a beautiful thing. Tanya's expression radiated wonder. Then I wish to explore every aspect of this vulnerability, since it appears entwined with love. The conversation transformed, weaving layers of intimacy into their gentle snuggles. Each caress held a promise, an invitation to explore heartbeats and breaths, lost within cherishing moments. With laughter, they navigated into deeper expressions, discovering how the glow of their affection could illuminate even the dimmest corners of their souls. One afternoon, a palpable tension settled in the air, shifting the mood between Jake and Tanya as they lounged beneath the glimmering foliage. "Tanya, I noticed something. You've been a bit distant lately?" Jake ventured cautiously. "Distant?" Tanya asked. A mixture of concern and surprise flickered across her features. "I have maintained my interest in our learning." "It's the little things," he began. "You seem lost in thought. Has something recent caused your exploration to feel less enriching?" Tanya allowed herself to reflect, struggling to articulate her feelings. "Fear, perhaps. I do not wish to appear clownish or inadequate." "Clownish?" Jake asked, puzzled. "Yes, my physical form does differ from yours," she confessed, a hint of insecurity creeping into her voice. "As our closeness deepens, I fear I will no longer be appealing." "Tanya, please don't think that way," Jake implored, taking her hands gently. "You're amazing just as you are. Your differences are part of what makes you unique." "Unique," she repeated, her brows furrowing as if weighing the term. "But if you cannot find me attractive in your world, how will this challenge of affection continue?" "Hey, it's not about conforming to human standards. It's about compatibility, connection," Jake stressed, warmth threading through his voice. "What we share is special. Besides, acceptance breeds growth. Don't let fear of comparison keep you from embracing yourself." Tanya's eyes glistened with vulnerability. "I wish to be more human-like for you. Is there a path for me to achieve affection through human perception?" "You don't need to change who you are, Tanya. It's better when you just shine as yourself. I care for you, for all of you." She leaned closer, a glimmer of understanding dawning. "So I shall embrace my individuality in this partnership?" "Absolutely. Individuality is your strength," he reassured her, heartened by their conversation. The warm connection fluttered between them once again. "You remind me to celebrate the beauty of differences. The true connection exists when both understand and embrace this," Tanya said softly. Jake beamed, feeling emboldened. "Exactly. So long as we communicate, we'll navigate these complexities together," he affirmed with newfound strength, hope blooming in the spaces between them again. As days rolled into weeks, Jake and Tanya solidified their bond, balancing vulnerability with the fairy tale laughter of affectionate banter. Yet as their connection deepened, Jake sensed an opportunity for greater commitment lingering in the air. "Tanya, this whole journey has been incredible," he began one evening as they stargazed together, deep in the essence of whispered conversations. "I feel fortunate to have had you by my side. I have learned much about human ways and about myself through your patience," she replied, her eyes sparkling like the stars above. "I think we've grown closer, but I want to be clear about my feelings," Jake confessed nervously. "You mean a lot to me." Tanya leaned closer, a smile growing on her lips. "And you have shown me the best aspects of being human, but your affection, what does it entail?" "It means consistency, trust, and devotion," Jake explained, his heart racing. "For me, it's wanting to share and explore life with you, together." "Together," Tanya echoed softly, consideration etched across her features. "Then I wish to forge this intertwining of our lives, bridging our worlds." Jake's heart soared at her words. "So you're saying you want to truly commit?" "Yes. Just as humans bond through shared experiences, so will we." She paused, a light in her eyes. "This connection seems to reinforce a sense of belonging, and I wish to cultivate it." Jake grinned triumphantly, elated. "I'm all in, Tanya. We'll explore everything our worlds combine, unearthing new wonders in our relationship." "Then we embrace this journey together, hand in hand," she declared, a fierce glow radiating from her that sent warmth through him. Their laughter danced through the night, intertwined with quiet reflections, a powerful acknowledgement of how their connection had blossomed. What had started as simple lessons had transformed into a deep bond, an uncharted adventure where joy and affection were waiting for them to discover. The stars flickered brightly overhead, like the possibilities that lay ahead. Jake and Tanya drew closer as they strolled through the vibrant alien garden, their fingers entwined, smiles illuminating their path. I look forward to uncovering every layer of your world, even the complexities of your love, Tanya said playfully, her large eyes reflecting the luminescence of the flowers around them. And I'm here to explore every part of yours. Together, we'll ignite adventures our creatures couldn't have imagined, Jake replied, feeling excitement bubbling within him. So how will we bridge our families? Tanya asked, raising her brow curiously. Jake's grin widened. One step at a time, we'll manage that part. Tanya laughed, a delightful sound that resonated in the still night. Let us establish a few ground rules, like never apologizing for being ourselves. That's an excellent one, Jake cheered, feeling reassured. Also, let's promise to make each moment an adventure, she added. Count me in. I'm looking forward to our journey, finding out just how much we can learn from each other, he said, squeezing her hand gently, realizing that they were building something beautiful together. A tapestry woven with the threads of curiosity, laughter, and love. The path stretched before them, vibrant and uncharted, filled with the exciting promise of connection. Jake felt a wave of contentment, knowing their adventure had just begun, and with Tanya by his side he was ready to embrace anything the cosmos had in store.